You guys ready? Looks like we got a bunch of people. Nice. I love it. All right. First, welcome everybody, all our TrAk people from all over the place. We're obviously super duper excited. This is the first kind of outside expert that we've had on, and we're going to continue to try and bring this stuff as this drags out. So I'm going to let Tim introduce himself.
I thought you were going to introduce him.
And then I'm gonna tie it up because he's gonna be very modest with some of the people that he's worked with. So Tim and Mike, take it away. Tell them about yourselves, the doctors, please.
Cool, sure. Thanks, guys. We've done this a couple of times, but we're definitely not technology experts by any means. So we'll do our best here to get the content moving forward with the idea that everything's gonna be recorded. So I'm gonna turn this over to Dr. Mike here for a second. What we're going to cover, we'll have Dave wrap us up, and then we'll hop into the actual educational discussion here today on neck pain and tension headaches and everything. So for sure, yeah. So I'll do some of the intro stuff, just kind of explain things. I'll let Dave jump in and say his 2 cents, and then I'll kind of explain what we're going to be looking at initially, and then at the end, Tim will kind of run us through some exercises. But I'm Dr. Mike Pavlak. To the left of me is Dr. Tim Pavlak. We are brothers. We started a clinic down in the Valley called Physio Orthopedics and Performance, or POPS for short, and we are mainly a endurance athlete clinic. So we're a little outside of your normal physical therapy world. We work a lot with your overuse athletes, so think your runners, think your swimmers, and then think about you guys being the kind of strength and conditioning adult athletes, where rather than a normal PT world where we're having you come in, 3-4 times a week to do exercises, if you guys are members of TrAk and you're showing up, you already have the motivation factor that we're looking for, people who are working out on a daily basis. Our main job at that point would then be to do things you can't do on your own, techniques like trigger point dry needling, blading, what else? ART, cupping. These are all hands-on techniques we do. Obviously, things have gotten a little bit different with everything going on in the world right now, and we kind of opened up a new area where we're working in the telehealth realm, where we're actually bringing people in and we're doing virtually bringing people in. We're doing like a telehealth world where we're evaluating them. We're taking them through, subjective conversation of gathering information, objective tests to see, is there weakness, is there pain, is there some sort of symptom that keys us into what's going on? And then we're providing exercise initially to strengthen them up. And we actually are finding ourselves work a little bit more with some of our stronger athletes who aren't recovering from an injury as much as they're just trying to keep pushing performance. We're actually prescribing more advanced exercise to kind of keep letting them move forward in the strengthening world, especially with, the limited resources we have right now in our home gyms, some better than others, and other stuff going on like that. I think that's probably all I'd want to say about us as a clinic. Do you have anything you want to add? Or at the end here, we'll flash up a link we'll send it to Dave. Sure. That'll be specific to you all. Kind of thank for having us in. Where it'll be like a discount code for any telehealth stuff. The information today will be really good, but it'll be pretty general too. So if there are specific things going on and you want a little bit more, in person, not in person, personalized care, I guess, then the telehealth could be a good option for you. So we'll let Dave talk about how he knows us to some degree, then we'll hop into our demo stuff.
Yeah, just to be clear, some of you guys don't know these two. They're basically the place that we send anyone that has any sort of nick issue, something that they can't work through in the gym. Like Tim and Mike are the go-to people for us. And so that's one of the reasons we're super excited to have them on. The flip side is that they just obviously look like just a couple of young, good-looking dudes. Here's the thing. They won't tell you who they work with. So this is the most fun thing for me to read through this list. These are some of the athletes that they work with. And this is why it's amazing that we get access to these guys. So quickly, they worked with, or currently work with, 12-time USA TrAk and field national champion in ultra distance, 2019 Ohio Ultra Runner of the Year, the world triple jump silver medalist in track and field, NCAA cross country national champion, NCAA 1500 meter national champion, and then a mile-long list of other MAC champions, world record power lifters. It goes on and on. And so they are capable and knowledgeable and have worked at the very top of the field. And so pretty much my shoulder is going to get taken care of well. Like, keep that in mind. All right, guys, take it away. Let us have it.
And we work with Sean Michael Doty as well. In case you guys probably know who he is, local celebrity. Yeah. From what I understand, he'll be signing autographs later today.
Work with me too.
So let me put this camera around here, Mike, and I'll use all of my my technology skills that I own. All right. Awesome. So what we're going to do from here, we'll break it down. Is I'll kind of take us through the gist of what we're going through today, and then I'll have Tim and I will flip spots, and he'll kind of go through some of the really take-home stuff, the homework that you can do to kind of address the things that are going on. So obviously, we've seen a little bit of shift in our work environment. A lot of people going from being at a desk in their office where the company has provided some sort of ergonomic help, putting them at an eye-level computer screen or maybe a chair that supports them well, and maybe you go from being a very mobile person at your work to now you're at home and you're sitting on the couch. So what we're seeing is a lot of people are shifting kind of what their jobs are making them do, and what we actually are running into and we're going to discuss today is we're getting a lot of shoulder tension, neck tension, and tension headaches. So think tightness starting here, working its way up, and then even approaching into that head. So what we're going to talk about is kind of where that starts, how we correct it, and then if the corrections alone aren't enough, what we can do to dive a little bit deeper into those muscles. So I think the way you got to look at it is the pain and the headaches that you might be feeling now, that's really the fire. So while we know it hurts and we know it's bothering us, we kind of got to go all the way back. When we go all the way back, we see the spark is really, it's the posture. So we go from being in an environment that encouraged us to have a good ergonomic position to going into a position that now is aggravating. So for any of you guys who have transitioned from working at like an office chair to working on your couch, you'll notice your posture has gone from here down into something like this. So the first thing you're going to think about is, while we will show you some stuff to put out the flames, let's actually also turn off the spark. It's this idea of if your house goes on fire, because there was a gas leak, if you put out the fire, that's awesome, the fire's gone, but the second you relight something and the gas is still going, that spark's coming back. So this is going to take us to the root and just going to go with ergonomic correction. So really 4 big things you want to think about when you're working. First thing is you want feet flat on the floor, shoulder width apart, just make sure you got feet flat on the floor. A lot of these dangling legs when we work is a dangerous spot to be because it encourages us to drop into a flexed posture. So start with feet flat on the floor. The next thing you want to think about is your shoulder blades. You want to take them, like if this is them, you want to pinch them together and pull them down. What that's going to do is it's going to open up the chest. It's going to straighten out the back. When I'm working on my computer, we don't want to be up here, which is a lot of where our laptops sit. You want to be kind of alligator arms. So take those arms, put them at your side, and all your work should be occurring right here. Shouldn't be stretching out or really reaching out to grab something. You want to be working right through here. The last thing is where your computer screen is. And you think about it, you can divide your screen into 3 sections. There's your top, there's your middle, and there's your low portion. You really want your eyes to be lined up with that low portion, so the bottom 1/3 of your screen, so that when you're looking, you're either dead center or you're actually elevating your vision up a little bit to look at those. So if you think you want feet flat on the floor, you want arms at your sides, you want shoulders back, and you want your eyes in line with your screen, the bottom portion of your screen. And that's the idea. Let's put out the spark. Everything, all the tightness and pain and headaches that have come on have come from a poor working posture. So let's put ourselves in the appropriate position. Now, while correcting our posture is a good option, a lot of times that's not enough, especially if this fire has already started to grow. In which case, our next goal, what we're going to do is we're going to talk you guys through a couple of mobilization techniques, whether it be release techniques of the muscle, like self-soft tissue basically, whether it be stretching or whether it be some sort of activation of turning the muscle on. And what Tim's going to discuss is when is it appropriate to do self-soft tissue, when is it appropriate to stretch, and when is it appropriate to activate that muscle. And you'll kind of put them into different parts of what's going on in your day, and you're going to equate it to what's going on with TrAk. So what I'm going to do is, Tim, we'll switch spots. Yeah. I'll take over cameraman, and you can seamless transition. Yeah, ready? Yeah, ready. Yeah. Good? Yes. Cool. So not that you need tools around, I think the best thing you can probably do right now is kind of listen to the information, absorb as best you can, and then Sean and Dave are recording this, and then go through and post stuff, and all you're going to need is a little crosswalk for the rest of our ability. So we're putting mobility, we're putting this problem solving is if you corrected your posture, you take away the spark, you still have symptoms, and we want to solve the fire to some degree. Now take it in mind that even if I was seeing in person and doing techniques like dry needling or active release technique or manipulation or anything, and I can take away symptoms initially. Long-term, all these exercises I'm going to give you and all the posture correction you're doing at home is going to be your long-term solution to avoid anything that's painful from basically your top of your shoulder and above that could give you symptoms. So the 3 categories we're addressing are cell soft tissue, tissue length, and activation of the musculature that should be turned on to support your posture. And you kind of look like when is which category appropriate. So people are asking when should they roll, when should they stretch, when should they do activation techniques. My advice would be is if you're looking at a work day before and after the work day is completely fine to do all those activities. If you're looking at a workout, then if you are not having symptoms, but just someone who doesn't have pain but is just tight more than anything, then all the rolling and static stretching should be at the end of the workout and it should be in that order. You should always be rolling out the muscle before you do any static stretching. The activation stuff can be placed before the workout. So keep that in mind. If you are not having symptoms, you're just trying to do preventative work on yourself, you should be doing muscle activation techniques that I know TrAk does a great job of walking you guys through before a workout starts. If you are looking at when you should do the rolling and stretching, you should be at the end of the workout. If you're someone who's having symptoms, you can probably do them before and after. That would be totally fine with me because now you're trying to address a problem. Normally, static stretching from a research standpoint, it shows kind of like decreased muscle output. So if you were someone who didn't have symptoms, doing it at the end would make a little bit more sense. If you look at the soft tissue, so the musculature that's usually involved in an attention headache type of situation, which comes from posture. You got to think if you're in bad posture, where you should be tightening here, you're tightening out here. The norm is for you to assume like a compensatory movement pattern. Where you start by rolling your shoulder blades forward and then shrugging to the ceiling. So you'll see a lot of athletes with upper trap muscles are really, really built up because they have years of driving or sitting at a desk that's causing them to shrug position. So that's not a position we're trying to retrain. We're trying to retrain the reciprocal muscles that should basically deactivate the upper trap musculature. The soft tissue comes first. So for cervical, paraspinal, and suboccipital, which are 2 muscles that are normally involved in a situation like this, you need your lacrosse ball or tennis ball, and you need a hardbound book. So when you're in a position on your back, you normally have this curve in your cervical paraspinal, which means that this ball really wouldn't do anything in terms of releasing out the muscle. Taking a hardbound book, sliding it behind gives you a firm surface and also takes away that lordotic curve through here. So what you can do is the ball is not going by any means on anything that's bone related. So you can really feel the spinous process all through the cervical area. The ball is not going there. It's going about an inch to the left or to the right. And really what you're looking for is a spot that feels tender to you. So I'm starting down at the most prominent vertebrae, which you can feel by pushing on the back of your neck at C7. I'm going to the left, and I'm just looking for a tender spot. When I find a tender spot, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 fingers to hold the ball in place. I'm going to relax out onto the lacrosse ball. I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to exhale. If I want to increase the pressure, then I'll give some slowly nodding yes up and down. The keys to this is none of these techniques should make you hold your breath or wince. They should feel good while you're doing it. If it makes you hold your breath or wince or bruises you, then you're pushing too hard. A lot of times in the athletic world, we're trying to like go for the win. You know, a lot of athletes think more is better, and so I'm sure if you're not that person, then you probably work out by that person at TrAk or you know, in a sport or anything like that. And so it should feel good while you're doing it. Feel like pressure that gets lighter over time. A lot of times, when you can start with a decent amount of pressure, and as that pressure kind of dulls down or feels less aggressive to you, it's time to hold your breath or rinse. You can push your head a little bit harder into that lacrosse ball, or if you're using a tennis ball, go back to the lacrosse ball because it's a little more firm. So that's technique number 1 to release out that cervical, paraspinal, suboccipital. When I say suboccipital, the highest point you want to do is if you put your hand to the back of your forehead and you slowly roll down, you'll feel a point where it's very prominent bone and then it drops off where it feels a bit softer. You can go with no problems up to that area. Honestly, this is an area that we needle all the time, so I'm not super worried about you doing any damage with a lacrosse ball. A lot of people are nervous to kind of use any sort of soft tissue technique in the cervical spine. It's pretty darn safe as long as it doesn't loose or hold your breath or cause any like tingling or numbness down your arm. I shouldn't have to say that, but I work with some high school athletes who will just push through things, so nothing should be going down your arm. So that's number 1 for the musculature up here. Number 2 is to take that same lacrosse ball and go over to a doorway. And what you're doing in this position is trying to release out that trapeze muscle. And that muscle is pretty dense. And so what you do first is you scan for tension, and then you work out the tension itself. So you can get to the muscle from the front or from the back. So what I suggest is taking a lacrosse ball, going into the doorway, keeping your chest upright initially, leaning into the doorway and then rolling down. So what I'm doing is I'm pinning to the front and I'm rolling into a flex position, and I'm not rolling, but I'm kind of looking for a spot. Once I find a spot, then I apply a little bit more pressure by driving my hips into the doorway. And then when I roll, I don't roll up and down. I roll with the muscle fiber, so I roll side to side. So there's a two-step process where you are searching for tension by leaning to the doorway, rolling anterior to posterior, front to back, find a tender spot, lean into it, and then I release by rolling side to side. A lot of times what I'll tell people is if you're doing that cervical paraspinal suboccipital area, to get like 10 deep breaths, it'll get less tender over time. If you're doing the TrAk and levator portion into this neck, this little L from the neck down to the shoulder, 10 repetitions, for like a 1 second count type of thing, going back and forth. It'll get less tender over time, not more tender. So that's like the two areas from a muscle standpoint that involved in tension headaches or neck stiffness from bad posture being your spark to that fire. The second step, after you've gone through and released out the muscles or relaxed out the muscle, is to go through and do a static stretch to permanently lengthen the muscle. A lot of times the feedback you'll get when you ask someone is like, are you doing your foam rolling? Are you doing your crossball work? They say, no, I'm stretching. Are you doing your stretching? No, but I'm doing my foam rolling or crossball work. They're really parallel modalities, but they're not the same thing. You got to think of healthy tissues like silly putty. I can take that silly putty and I can stretch it farther apart and lengthen that tissue. But if you have those trigger points or not, spot where the muscles kind of contracted down that you're looking for with a lacrosse ball, you need to use a lacrosse ball first before you go through and stretch out that tissue and lengthen it. So it's always the rolling before the static stretching. The two stretches that I like for tension headaches and neck pain are, if I'm going to stretch to the right side, I will hold on to the bottom of my chair, bottom of my table. I will take a deep breath in, exhale and relax, let the shoulder kind of drop to the ground. I shouldn't be shrugged towards my ear at all. My hand is going to like a live long and prosper sign going around my ear. I am exhaling and leaning directly to the side and trying to touch my left ear to my left shoulder and getting a stretch to that TrAk area. The prescription that needs to be held is 3 by 30 seconds. From a research standpoint, it's actually 18 seconds to make a permanent static change in terms of muscle length. But everyone's a fast counter, so I say 30 seconds. That's what most people kind of get that prescription. Number 2 is I'm now biasing from my ear more back towards the occiput, back towards the back of my head. And I'm pulling down towards my armpit area and holding in this position for 3 by 30 seconds as well. So that first one is more TrAk. The second one is more cervical paraspinal and levator musculature. I will say there's never been a research study done that has showed that static stretching actually prevents an injury. But if you do that modality in terms of the static stretching for long, you feel better. Regardless of the research, I'm okay with you doing it. So that's kind of like your second step. You release the muscle, putting your body in this parasympathetic, this relaxing mode by using a lacrosse ball, which isn't holding your breath or wincing or pushing really hard. It's just that you feel good while you're doing it. You can do the static stretch to permanently lengthen the muscle, increase your range of motion. And the last thing that you're doing is you're not turning on the musculature that should be supporting your posture. So there's an idea called reciprocal inhibition. And reciprocal inhibition is as one muscle turns on, the opposite muscle turns off. So what we see from a research standpoint is these traps are turned on and they're always in this tonic contracted mode and giving yourself tension headaches. You can deactivate that upper trap musculature by turning on the mid trap and the low trap muscles that are basically muscles that pinch your shoulder blade and depress your shoulder blade here.
You're gonna pull them together.
Yep. So
That's gonna pull them
straight
down.
back and then pulling back and down. So the 2 moves that I give at like a 30-second hold, it's just an isometric hold. So all you're doing is you're at your desk, you're typing, you're feeling yourself struggling higher and higher. And I say, okay, I'm going to go through and reset those muscles by applying this neurological stimulus to my body. So what I do is I pinch my shoulder blade straight back as hard as I can. Shouldn't give you any pain. Hold this guy for 30 seconds. I then pinch back and down, like I'm trying to put my shoulder blades in my back pocket. So it's 2 different moves. The first one is mid-trap activation. The second one is inferior trap activation or low trap activation. You'll feel that tension at the lower part of your shoulder blades. And when those muscles turn on, it gives a neurological signal from your brain to these upper trap muscles to shut down. So when you're pinching straight back and holding and pinching down and back, you'll feel these guys soften up over time. And what it'll do is it'll get that stimulation from your brain to your body to give you better posture in the long term. It's all about movement, retraining, and repetition. So the more repetitions you do of that, long term, we're going to make that bigger difference. So really, when you're looking at tension headaches, like a quick summary, is make sure you go through and correct the spark, which is the posture. Meaning your feet are flat, elbows are tucked in, I'm staring straight at my screen, I'm not having to look down, I'm not having to hold my cell phone to the end, use a headpiece, and I'm not having to reach to a mouse really far or a keyboard really far outside. go through, release out the muscle with a lacrosse ball, static stretch the muscle to lengthen that tissue that's contracted down in that short and irritated position, and then turn on the muscles, the reciprocal muscles, that will downregulate you shortening up and turn on the muscles that should be supporting good posture while you're going through and tightening. So really this lecture is like athletic performance, but you got to think anytime you apply a new stimulus to the body has a reaction. When you start deadlifting, the hamstrings and the glutes get sore because you're new to deadlifting. If you go from sitting in a very specific seat for the last 20 years so that you've been at your job, and all of a sudden your boss sends you home to work on the couch for 2 to 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever we're going to be on the couch working for, that's new stimulus to your body. So all these exercises are pinpointed at addressing that new stimulus that probably could be a danger to you and cause irritation, because stress is high at this point because of the change that we're going through.
Yeah, and even to apply this to like when you guys are still working out, as far as when are these appropriate to do, the activation techniques are what you would do before you worked out. So those shoulder blade pinches together, shoulder blade pinches down, those are going to work as activation techniques to turn on those parascapular muscles so that when you do start doing whatever upper extremity movement you have going on in the workout that day, those muscles are ready to fire. And in the same realm, you do the opposite when you're done. The foam rolling and the stretching, we've warmed up the muscles by activating them, which means they're pliable, they're ready to move, in which case it would make sense to bring a lacrosse ball in and further release the muscle, in which case it would make sense to hold a static stretch to further strengthen the muscle. Kind of works the idea of when you turn your car on, you don't go 0 to 60 in 1 second. You let the engine warm up, and that's what you're doing with the activation.
Yeah.
And then when you're done driving your car, you got to turn it off. Otherwise, you're going to run that engine down, in which case you take the lacrosse ball techniques and the stretching, and that's actually going to turn the muscle off. It's that parasympathetic response.
Yeah, making the connection to performance. If you're someone who anytime you overhead press, you get a headache, it's actually because of the same problem. When you're overhead pressing, you're into the position. If you are not pinched down and back when you're overhead pressing, then you're going to do that compensatory motion where you shrug while you're overhead pressing, and that consistent shrugging is going to lead to tension headaches. So even though we're talking in the realm of how you're sitting and your posture at work, if you're someone who always has pain when you do pull-ups or always has headaches after you do overhead pressing, then you're probably getting core activation into those mid-back muscles that's causing you to assume that compensatory pattern can be addressed via the stretching and lacrosse ball. That can be long-term solved by strengthening all those scapular stabilizers that pinch back and down. So from a lecture standpoint, that was kind of the information I wanted to cover. Do you want to flip it around?
Yeah, if you have any questions.
Yeah, I have a question, guys. I know for us and for a lot of people, standing desks are kind of the new thing, but from my own experience and from the things I'm reading, they can actually perpetuate the same problems if you're not moving around or if you're standing in a bad position. Can you speak to how you guys feel about standing desks?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the same type of idea. When I have someone who is trying to get into like running, for example, I don't say, okay, we're gonna start with a 50-mile week, because your body's gonna take that new stimulus. It's gonna freak out because it has no idea what stimulus is being applied to it and create new problems. So from a standing desk, the posture stuff remains the same in terms of having the computer right in front of you and the keyboard close to you. But I usually give like a 2x2 rule. So if you're trying to transition to a standing desk, I say pick a time domain that you know is very safe for you. So let's say I know I can stand for 10 minutes with no problem. And then every day I increase by 2 minutes. So my first day is 10 minutes, 12, 14, 16, 18. Say I get to 18 and I'm starting to feel like tension buildup or irritation, then I back off by 2 minutes for the next 2 days. So if I get to 18 and 18 is a bad idea, my body rejects that idea, then I go back to 60 minutes for the next 2 days. And 60 minutes is pretty small, so maybe you could do like 2 cycles of that. Do a 60-minute in the morning and a 60-minute at the end of work. And then slowly those time frames will grow and meet you in the middle. So your whole day is spent at that standing work desk. Hopefully that makes sense to you.
So you're saying like by the hour, I'm going to do 60 minutes in the hour, I'm doing 60 minutes for my entire 8-hour workday.
I was saying 60 minutes at the beginning of the day and 60 minutes at the end of the day.
So you're bringing it in several times.
Yeah, and then slowly those bookends will grow towards the middle because they'll get longer in duration.
I have another question regarding the same sort of thing. You talked about the monitor being up high and your eyes being at the lower level of it and your arms being down low. What if you only have a laptop at home? So the screen is going to be wherever your hands are, right?
Yeah, if you have to choose between the two, I would take low arms any day. Because if you're up here, just to give yourself a good eye vision, it's too much going on in the traps already. Drop the shoulders down, give yourself the head. It's the lesser of two evils in all reality.
And then I'll tell you what I do, which probably isn't a good idea, but I'm just gonna give it to you anyways. So like we both use laptops and I have shoulder pain and neck pain and they kind of rotate between the days. And on the days that I have neck pain, I move my laptop up higher so I'm looking straight on. On the days that I have shoulder pain, I move it lower so that I am not in this retracted position. So I kind of rotate between. So like if you have neck pain, that screen's going to help you. If you have shoulder pain, then putting that screen lower is going to keep you in more of a neutral position. Yeah.
As you know, I have both, so I will probably do that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, just rotate like me. Yeah, that's not a solution.
I'm also one of their patients, so.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to get on my bike again soon, so hopefully my shoulders don't do this.
Yep.
Do my exercises.
We got your back if you need us. Cool. You guys got anything else specific? What I can have Mike do, because this is being recorded, is hold up a card that has our email address in it. And maybe Dave or Sean can share that with you too. Let me get the general email. Okay. Because we want to be a resource for you guys, and to be honest with you, we have a little bit more time on our hands than we normally do. So if you guys have questions, that I believe, can you see it? That is my email in there.
Yeah, we'll drop it in the recording and in all all the posts and stuff, and we'll put it out.
This probably isn't official enough.
No.
Memorize it. Quick, guys. 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah. Was there any questions in the chat or anything?
Yeah, if people are not wanting to talk out loud, I'm actually going to write the email in really quick.
No, and if we get questions posted, and we may get questions from the recording, I'm guessing we will. We'll pass them on and then drop them out to everybody.
That works. Well, if you guys don't have anything, we really appreciate you having us out. Like I said, we have a little more on our hands than we normally do. So thanks for filling it with your friendly and handsome faces you guys have over there. So if you guys have anything, adjust, but if not, we'll let you go here.
No, that was awesome. I really appreciate you guys' time. Honestly, like for us, I think I can speak for everyone. Probably the transition to the at-home desk is a nightmare so far. And I have the laptop on the table. That's feeling the pain, man. So I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys. Have any questions? Yep.
All right. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You bet, guys.
Thanks for jumping on, everybody. Oh,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We don't want to leave.
Oh, Sue at work.
Cakes, kill that recording.
Sue
I'm
at
killing
work.
it. Killing it.
It's so weird to see you at work.